You've seen the bikes, steel frames, perfect builds, café chairs outside the shop. It's all very Berlin. And if you're like most cyclists scrolling past another clean Standert post on Instagram, you've probably wondered, is this just another style over substance brand? But here's the thing, it's not. And the real story behind Standert is way grittier, weirder and cooler than the internet makes it look. This isn't a brand that started with VC money or brand consultants somewhere in a boardroom in California. It started with a guy named Max, a design student, fixing bikes, riding crits, pulling espresso shots, and making popsicles. From a tiny shop in Berlin Mitte, Max and his partner Anna built something that looks good and rides fast. A brand rooted in Berlin street culture, but built to race for real. So today, we're going deeper, not just into the bikes, but the people, the place, and the punk energy that made Standert what it is today. Standert started with track bikes and popsicles. In 2012, in a small corner of Berlin's
Invalidenstraße,
Max von Zenger, a design student, mountain biker, and former bike messenger, opened a cycling cafe with his partner Anna. It was part bike shop, part espresso bar, and part popsicle stand. Steel frames hung next to shelves of filter coffee, and the vibe was pure Kreissäge. Creative, a little chaotic, and full of intent. So let's talk about Max for a second. Born and raised in Berlin Kreissäge, Max blended form and function from the beginning. He'd studied design at the University of Arts after stints in marketing and business. But it was cycling that gave his creativity direction. From bombing hills in the Black Forest to courier runs in Berlin, he lived on two wheels. And when he started sketching his own frames, the result wasn't just performance, it was personality. Urban road bikes, fast, functional, and worthy of being hung on a wall. And the first Standert store wasn't a showroom. It was a hangout, a cafe, a community space, and a design lab where frames were built with love and popsicles were made with coconut water from none other than the Mitchellberger Hotel. And what started as a local scene quickly became a global name. Riders from around the world drawn in by the aesthetic, the storytelling, and the substance behind the steel. And from that unlikely start, Standert has grown into one of the most authentic and cultural-driven bike brands out there. A label that fuses Berlin street energy with European craftsmanship and real-world racing credibility. Anna ran the cafe. His friend Johan, a designer from Berlin's hip-hop scene, created the now iconic Lucky Cat logo. And the name Standert came from slang they used as a bunch of friends. It meant, of course, obviously, or why even ask? And it stuck because that's how they approached everything. Casually, instinctively, but with intent. Before the brand went global, Standert was a community. The cafe became a hub for Berlin's fixie and messenger scene. Every Thursday, riders would show up for underground Alleycat races, sprinting between random S-Bahn stations. Those nights shaped the brand's identity. It was fast, messy, inclusive, and fun. As the community grew, so did the ambition. Max and the team started building proper road bikes. Still steel, still clean, but faster and more refined. One of the early steel models, the Triebwerk, used Columbus tubing. Then came the Kreissäge, which literally means circular saw in German. It was Standert's turning point. A scandium aluminium criterium frame, aggressive geometry, one-time drivetrain, oversized head tube. It wasn't a copy of anything else. It was their idea of what a crit bike should be. And by 2016, Team Standert was winning local races, the cafe had evolved into a showroom, and Standert was no longer just a cool Berlin name. It was a proof of concept. Now from the start, Standert made a promise. Stick to metal, their bikes are made from steel, aluminium and scandium and stainless steel, all recyclable and all crafted with intent. They design frame sets inspired by Berlin street culture, vintage toys, ski boots and random colours spotted on a Mallorcan beach. The Lucky Cat mascot still appears on every single frame, chainsaw in paw. A reminder that cycling should never take itself too seriously. Today, Standert employs around 35 people and builds every bike by hand in Berlin. They've gone from Alleycat races to a UCI registered development squad, Team Standert Brandenburg, proving that cool and competitive don't have to be opposites. They still host group rides, they still sell direct to consumer, and they still keep production pretty small, with limited batches designed in-house and painted in Europe, built to order. And as Rouleur put it, They're saving cycling not from garish lycra, but from cookie cutter carbon bikes. Now, even the legends at Cade Media have reviewed the Standert Kreissäge, and their take was refreshingly honest. They called it expensive alloy.
It's expensive alloy, and some people are going to have a problem with that. But on the other hand, some people want nice things made in certain locations, perhaps closer to home. Some of it is taste, and some people have different tastes to other people. Is this the best alloy gets?
They are right. The frame set alone is around 2,000 Europe, and full builds do start at just over 6,000 euros. But as they put it, you're not buying this for value, you're paying for design and for a bike that feels genuinely special. Of course, they didn't shy away from the downsides either.
On a negative note, the tubes are welded together and it hasn't been sanded down that nicely. I mean, you can see how blobby the welds are.
But overall, the verdict was balanced. Maybe this is the kind of company you'd actually want to spend a little bit more money on. And that same sentiment shows up in other rider reviews too. On the subreddit of cycling fashion, one owner summed it up perfectly. Aesthetically, it's 10 out of 10. Ride quality, 8 out of 10. It's a direct, stiff bike, fine for short, punchy stuff, but not for long alpine climbs. And another called it expensive for aluminium, but it did admit that cool bikes supposedly ride well, and if you want one, then what everyone else thinks. And that's the thing about Standert. People have opinions because the bikes have personality. They're not built to be invisible. They're designed to make you feel something, whether that's speed, stiffness, or just pure Berlin attitude. You're not buying a mass-produced carbon frame. You're buying craft, character, and a ride that refuses to blend in. When asked about sustainability, Max admitted that he didn't even start with it in his mind. He just loved metal bikes. But as the company grew, it became clear metal is the future again. Standert is now working with a Californian company to develop bike tubing made from 100% post-consumer recycled aluminium. Literally, Coke cans turned into crit bikes. It's not performative sustainability, it's practical. Now, in summary, Standert isn't about nostalgia. It's about continuity, a Berlin café that became a global bike brand, a messenger scene that evolved into a racing team, a popsicle stand that now builds some of Europe's most desirable bikes. They've managed to keep the culture and add credibility, and that's something that very few brands are able to pull off. Standert's not trying to be Rafa or a fashion label or a retro revival. They're just doing what they've always done, building bikes they love and building a culture around them. And maybe that's what makes them the new standard. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on it all. Do you own a Standert bike? Are you even interested in the world of aluminium and metal frames? I think it's awesome. I think it's great that there's a brand that has only just come around in the past, 10 to 15 to 20 years that has made a real impact in the scene. The cycling market is flooded and owned by the big players who have years of R&D, and they have factories based out in Italy and all these other places. Whereas these guys literally started from a cafe in Germany and are now doing something really, really cool. And it's also, I guess, testament to Europe as an area that we have so many great engineers and so many great people with ideas. I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And once again, thank you so much for being a part of this video. Thank you for sticking around. And if you've not yet, please do subscribe, like, and do all the other things that I should be saying.